What up, though, YouTube? So today I will be reacting to a horror story to tell in the dark, and couldn't make this video. And I'll be watching this video and straight through, and let's just see where this goes. So yeah, first scary stories to tell in the dark. Let's go. Part 1.
In the pre-internet era, I worked in a local pizza place. I was only 17 at the time. It was a nice operation. The staff and management got along well. Try saying that with a straight face nowadays. One of our servers was a lovely young woman. We'll call her Brittany, who was very much a free spirit. She didn't own a car and would walk to work and would get rides home from other coworkers after her shift ended. She usually worked the late shift and closed up at around 10, usually leaving at about 11 after cleanup. I often gave her a ride home on the nights I didn't bike to work. She would sometimes even hitchhike home if no one could drive her. She was pretty fearless, but always kept pepper spray and a small knife in her purse, just in case. On one busy Friday night, we finished the post-shift cleanup at around midnight. We were the only two left at the very end aside from the owner, who was in the office counting the cash drawers and cataloging the sales receipts. Remember, this was before computers, so this had to be done with an adding machine and pencils. I rode my bicycle that day, as it was really nice outside for the first time in weeks. The owner said that she would give Brittany a ride if she waited until the accounting was done. It would be about another hour or so. She decided not to wait and said that she would just hitch a ride home. We both tried to discourage her from doing that, and I told her that she might not even get a lift in an hour anyways. But she just laughed and said, "Hey, I'm a nice-looking girl with great legs. Somebody's going to stop, and I have myself a defense kit." Honestly,
Girl, are you serious? Why would you say that? Why would you, bro? Okay, so this girl just purposely does not care. I don't understand. It's like you're literally putting yourself in the position to mess up. But okay.
see, I don't think her penknife would have even cut an apple, but it was something, and the pepper spray she used would at least be effective. I walked her outside, and we talked for a while in the parking lot. She joked about sitting on the handlebars of my bike and saying that I could bike her home. Of course, that wasn't an option, so we both laughed. I offered to stay with her until she got a ride, but she said no thanks,
He's a gentleman,
and that no one would stop if they saw her with a guy on a bicycle, and that it would have made them suspicious that we were up to something. So we said our goodbyes and headed off in separate directions. She didn't report to work on her next scheduled day, which was the following Monday. This was highly unusual. She was never late for work or missed a shift without calling. A couple of days later, her mom came in, frantically asking if her daughter had been to work. She hadn't come home or called since Friday night. If she was coming home late or staying at some place, she would always call her mother. We were all freaked out a little bit. Her mother eventually reported her missing, and the police came around and questioned both me and the owner about that Friday night. The owner, being a middle-aged woman and me being a goofy 17-year-old kid, didn't interest them much as potential suspects or even persons of interest. After the police left, the teasing started. Restaurant workers can be a hard bunch, especially the kitchen staff, and most have a very dark sense of humor, at least the ones that I worked with. This went on for the next few shifts, and things didn't help when it became evident that I was the last person to ever see her alive. The cops came back into the pizza place and questioned me again, and also my parents, which of course freaked them out. Finally, about a week after she went missing, a coworker was really giving me hell about it, telling the waitresses not to get too close to me or they might disappear. I finally had enough of his underhanded remarks.
So now everybody want to start playing out of somebody that went missing. I feel like in the horror stories, bro, it's always the one that get the plan starting rumors, and that's the one who be the killer or be the accomplice to the killer. Come on.
He sarcastically asked me where I hid the body. I snapped back. At the bottom of the f***ing lake. You want to join her? Of course, everyone who overheard this went, ooh, and egged us both on. Being 17 and stupid, I said, yeah, I put her on the handlebars, rode out to the dam, and threw her off. Now shut up and leave me alone. That quieted
He just incriminated himself. Like, buddy about to be doing all day.
to call me a few names, and we eventually returned to our duties.
Bro, you finna be doing all day, man.
Brittany's body turned up in the reservoir. She had been sexually assaulted and stabbed to death. There was a reason her body wasn't discovered sooner, but I can no longer recall why. Needless to say, the cops got a whole lot more interested in me now, after that sarcastic tirade at the restaurant, where I unknowingly foretold almost the exact way her body was discovered. They had my parents bring me into the station, and I was questioned again, without an attorney present. Back then, unless an arrest was imminent, a juvenile could be questioned without one as long as a parent was there. As the dam was a good 20-mile drive from the restaurant, I was eliminated as a suspect.
Right.
They made an arrest a short time after that. It was a man they had suspected in a similar incident the previous year. He confessed to both murders in exchange for a life sentence.
What?
Obviously. There was no connection between me and him, but I still felt awful. When I went to Brittany's memorial, I just sat in the back quietly. By that point, word had gotten around about my morbid joke that turned out to be true. I didn't attend the burial service. I didn't want to upset her family.
Right.
A few years later, I got work at a gas station and had the misfortune of selling an arsonist the fuel he used to set his own house on fire.
What?
Bro, what?
That's a story.
Bro, why does it seem like Doggy Bone is just getting all the crazy people? Like, why? And then it's like he's trying to blame himself for doing his job. Like, it makes no sense.
For context, this took place almost 2 years ago. I was in Washington on sort of a vacation visiting my then fiancée. We'll call her Sarah for the sake of this story. It was for a graduation she was having for basic training.
Ew, why do all of their faces look fake?
It was a big deal for her family, and she asked me to be there for it. So I said why not, and booked a flight. I would be arriving a week before the rest of her family, so her and I could have some time together, just the two of us, before she would be busy having all of her family there for the occasion. She stayed with me at my hotel during this time, and eventually we decided that we wanted to get out and explore some of the nearby historical sites that Washington has to offer. I had never been there, of course, so the idea piqued my interest. Once we arrived at our location, we spent about 4 hours walking around and seeing all the sites, from the Lincoln Memorial to the Washington Monument, the Congress Building, and even the White House. It was a very fun and exciting experience for myself to see all of these places, as I had missed out going on a school trip in high school.
Look at the Colonel.
To visit them. Sarah at the time seemed to appreciate my interest in them, and we basically enjoyed ourselves. After we finally decided that we had had enough of walking around and were ready to go back to the hotel, we used the Uber app to call for a ride. We had used it before to arrive and had no issues, so we decided just to use it again for the ride back. Sarah made the request on her phone while I sat down under some shade and waited. I was pretty tired from all the walking we had done, and I could feel that I was ready to get back to the hotel for a nice long nap. Eventually, after about 10 minutes of waiting, a car pulled up in front of us. Sarah mentioned to me that this must be our Uber, as the place that they had stopped at was not a parking spot. I stood up and followed her to the car, where she opened the back door and stepped inside, asking the driver, "Hey, you're the Uber, right?" He gave a slight nod to her without saying anything, and I then followed her into the car, shutting the door behind me. Now looking back on this, I realize how dumb we were. We should have been asking for the driver's name and verified it on the app. I didn't have access to any of this myself, as Sarah...
You telling me you get in the car with a complete stranger and you don't ask no questions? None! Just throw the phone away. Just throw it away. Where did that accent come from?
was the one who had made the request on her phone, so none of these concerns occurred to me at the time. As we both sat in the back seat of the car, which was a gray-colored van, the driver didn't say a word.
Look at him.
I found this a bit odd, as any other Uber driver we had would at least greet me once and confirm my name and the address I was supposed to be driven to. But this guy? Nothing. The vehicle began moving without the driver acknowledging either of us.
Bro just in the front seat, he just driving. He like, look at these dummies.
Other than that brief nod he had given to Sarah. I did pick up on how weird it was, but I was tired, and I didn't really feel like trying to engage the man myself. I laid my head back and just closed my eyes. I then felt a tap on my arm from Sarah, after what felt like only 5 minutes into the ride. I opened my eyes and looked at her. She didn't speak to me. I could see the look on her face was one of...
Look at her. Feeling stupid yet?
Worry. And it had me wondering what exactly she was concerned about. He then pointed to her phone, which was showing the route the Uber would take to drive us back to our hotel. It didn't take me long to realize that we were heading in the opposite direction.
Bro, come on, man. Really? Oh! Hold on. Okay. I ain't gonna lie, this hard, bro. Is this Fortnite? This gotta be Fortnite. Hawked. That's awesome.
I could see the color in Sarah's face drain. Shortly after, a notification popped up on her phone saying that our Uber had arrived, followed by a message from the driver asking where we were. The picture that popped up on Sarah's phone did not match the driver of the van. My heart sank into the pit of my stomach.
He looked like you.
I then knew that we had gotten ourselves into a situation I never thought that we would be in. I slowly looked back towards the driver, but I didn't say anything. I didn't know what this man's intentions were or what he was capable of, and I honestly did not want to find out. I just knew at that moment that I had to get us both out of this van. I leaned forward and told the man that we had changed our minds and would be fine with being let out where we were. This was an attempt to get us out of the situation without alarming the man that we knew. He glanced at me through the rearview mirror, and the first actual acknowledgement of me since we had gotten into the vehicle. I caught his glance as he stared at me without saying a single word in what felt like minutes. It was probably only about 10 seconds. He didn't stop the van, and he didn't say anything in response to me. And just kept driving as if nothing had been said. My patience had run out.
Bro, this is
and
crazy.
I knew that whatever this man had in store for us,
it ain't good.
Wasn't good. I then did the only thing I could think of in that moment and reached into my pocket, pulling out my pocket knife.
See, you gotta choke them. You gotta choke them out. You gotta choke them out. You gotta, where you going? Where you going? Where you going? Where you going? Where you going?
Okay.
He's carried on me.
Why do you just have a
I
pocket
flipped
knife
out the
on
blade,
you?
and without wasting another
That's good,
second,
though.
I told the driver, "We know that you're not the Uber. I don't know what your plan is here, but I have a knife.
Oh, you
And
think
if
you
you don't
tough
pull over
tone?
right now, I'm gonna stick it right in your temple."
He like, boy, you think you
The
tough
driver's
tone?
eyes quickly looked at me again in the rearview mirror, and I knew he could see me gripping the knife in my hand. He then quickly pulled the van over, and I heard the doors unlock. Sarah and I wasted no time getting out as fast as we could. The moment we were both outside, the man sped off. We quickly took a moment to gather ourselves as Sarah was having a panic attack, and I was still trying to wrap my mind around what the hell just happened. Sarah quickly pulled out her phone and responded to our actual Uber driver and informed him of our location and asked if he wouldn't mind picking us up. The Uber driver arrived a few minutes later.
It's good
and
that
this
they
time,
didn't tell him
we
like
made sure it was the
where
right
their
one.
apartment is.
We told him everything that had
or
happened.
hotel.
He then informed us of something that made the blood in my veins turn to ice. He told us that there had recently been multiple instances where people were posing as Uber drivers in that area, as it was easy to find many tourists around there who wouldn't think twice about getting into a car thinking that it was an Uber or a Lyft.
Literally just any
The guy
car.
told us that we were very lucky to have gotten out of that. We made it back to the hotel without issue and quickly reported this incident to the local police. We gave the description of the unknown driver and the van he was driving. The police
You got a
told us
plate?
that they would call us with any further information, but we never heard
Bro,
back from
don't
them.
call nobody.
So
Just
I'm
do your
assuming the man
job.
was never caught or found. That worries me because he could still be out there doing this to somebody else. Again, I realized how stupid we both had been and how we didn't verify the vehicle before getting into it. But let this be a reminder to everyone listening to do just that, and always make sure you're aware of your surroundings.
Looking like David. Yeah, guys, very important message. If you get in an Uber on your phone, make sure you know who it is, who picking you up. They're gonna send you a picture. I ain't got it in a long time. They're gonna send you the car they drive and the picture, and they're gonna text you. Man, just be cautious out here, y'all. Like, bro, like, don't be like this dude. Please don't. Let him. Please don't be like this guy. Okay, so that was actually pretty good. If you guys want to see more, let me know down in the comment section. I'm willing to do a whole lot more new game content coming out, more reactions. Yeah. So with that being said, appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you smack that like button. Let me know how I'm doing in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let me know how I'm doing. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Do something productive. Do something positive. I love music. It saved my life, you know what I mean?
If you don't feel something or you don't understand something, you kind of say, I don't understand that, so I can't get into that. I can understand Montefani and Lawrence Welk, but I can't understand this. So you see, it's simply a matter of blending and coming together. Music is universal.